He was just a single dad. Until he saved a drunk billionaire CEO, and everything changed. It was supposed to be just another quiet evening for Ryan, a single dad juggling 2 jobs and the endless responsibilities of raising his 7-year-old daughter, Lily. Life had been tough ever since his wife passed away 3 years ago. Bills, school, and work left little time for anything else, and yet he never complained. Ryan had a quiet strength, the kind you notice only when someone truly needs help. That night, Ryan was on his way home from his late shift at the local diner when he noticed a commotion near the city's exclusive downtown hotel. A crowd had gathered, whispering and taking videos with their phones. Curious, he edged closer and saw a man slumped against the curb. His expensive suit was wrinkled, shoes scuffed, and a half-empty bottle of champagne spilled on the ground. Most people would have walked past, maybe shrugged and said, "Not my problem." But Ryan didn't. There was something about the man's helplessness that hit him differently. He recognized him immediately from the news. It was none other than Adrian Blackwell, one of the youngest billionaires in the world and CEO of Blackwell Industries, a global tech empire. A man so powerful he probably didn't even know the meaning of struggle. And yet here he was, drunk, vulnerable, and alone. "Sir, are you okay?" Ryan asked cautiously, crouching down. Adrian groaned, attempting to stand but wobbling dangerously. I'm fine," he muttered, slurring his words. "Just, give me a minute." Ryan shook his head. "You're not fine. Let me help you." With careful effort, Ryan guided Adrian away from the street and into the dimly lit hotel lobby. The security guards glanced at him suspiciously, but Ryan waved them off. "I've got him," he said simply. "Trust me." He found a quiet corner, helping Adrian sit down. "You need water," Ryan said, pulling a bottle from his bag. "And you're going to need someone to make sure you get home safe. You can't be wandering the streets like this." Adrian just stared at him blankly at first, as if he wasn't used to someone caring without expecting anything in return. Ryan noticed the subtle tremble in his hands, the exhaustion in his eyes, and realized this was a side of the billionaire no one ever saw. Hours passed. Ryan didn't just sit there, he kept Adrian talking, coaxing him to drink water, eating a small sandwich, and quietly listening while the man murmured about stress, mistakes, and loneliness. Despite his immense wealth, Adrian's life seemed just as messy and complicated as Ryan's, maybe even more so. Finally, Adrian, now somewhat sober, looked at Ryan and managed a faint smile. Why are you helping me?" he asked, genuinely curious. Ryan shrugged. "Because someone had to. And because no matter how rich or powerful you are, being human doesn't come with instructions. Everyone needs help sometimes." Adrian paused, studying him, and for a moment, the billionaire CEO looked like just a man. And Ryan, the single dad who felt invisible in his own life, realized that he had just stepped into a world he'd never imagined, a world of power, wealth, and influence. But one thing was clear: tonight, he hadn't just saved a man, he had shifted the course of his own life in a way he couldn't yet understand. And that's when things started to change. The next morning, Ryan thought the encounter with Adrian Blackwell would fade into memory like a strange dream. After all, he was a single dad with 100 other responsibilities: Lily's school, his second job at the warehouse, and the ever-growing pile of bills. But then, his phone buzzed. A message. From Adrian. "Meet me at the downtown cafe at noon. I owe you a thank you. Adrian." Ryan blinked, unsure if this was real. Why would one of the world's most powerful men reach out to him? Curiosity and cautious excitement won over hesitation, and by noon, he found himself in the sleek, modern cafe downtown. Adrian was already there, looking far more composed than the previous night, but there was something different in his expression, humility, even vulnerability. "Ryan," Adrian greeted, his voice steady now, "thank you again for last night. I've never had someone help me like that before." Ryan shrugged, trying to hide the surprise. "Just doing what anyone would do. Are you sure you're okay?" Adrian leaned back, studying him. "I was a mess, wasn't I?" Ryan smiled faintly. "Maybe. But everyone has their mess." And that simple exchange broke the ice. Adrian, usually guarded behind layers of wealth and public image, began to open up. He talked about the pressures of running a global company, the isolation of being constantly scrutinized, and the loneliness he never admitted in interviews or to friends. Ryan listened quietly, offering small insights, simple advice, the kind that comes from real-life struggles rather than corporate experience. What started as a thank you quickly transformed into a genuine conversation. By the end of the meeting, Adrian was laughing, something Ryan hadn't expected. He was seeing a side of the billionaire that the world never did, a man who, despite unimaginable wealth, still needed kindness, human connection, and understanding. Over the following weeks, their paths crossed more often. Adrian invited Ryan to events under the guise of business networking, but Ryan soon realized these were chances for him to mentor, guide, and even challenge the CEO in ways others never could. Meanwhile, Adrian's influence began seeping subtly into Ryan's life. Opportunities for better work, a small scholarship fund for Lily's school, even an offer to start his own small business, things Ryan had only dreamed about, suddenly seemed possible. But it wasn't just about money or opportunity. What mattered was the respect Adrian showed Ryan. He asked his opinions, valued his advice, and, most importantly, treated him like an equal. The single dad who had once felt invisible was now recognized, appreciated, and trusted by someone the world idolized. One evening, after a long day of meetings, Adrian invited Ryan and Lily to his penthouse for dinner. As Ryan watched Lily's eyes widen at the view of the city skyline and the enormous apartment, he realized just how far this journey had taken them. It wasn't the money, the fame, or the influence, it was the human connection. Adrian had reminded him that even in the busiest, most difficult life, kindness could create a bridge between completely different worlds. And then came the moment that sealed everything. Adrian looked at Ryan and said softly, "You saved me when I couldn't even save myself. I can never repay you, but I can promise you this, you and Lily will always have my support. Whatever you need, whenever you need it." Ryan's eyes blurred. It wasn't just gratitude in Adrian's words, it was genuine respect, a recognition that sometimes the strongest heroes aren't those who hold power, but those who act when it matters most. That night, as Ryan tucked Lily into bed, he realized that one act of courage, one decision to help a stranger, had completely changed the course of their lives. They weren't living in a world of wealth or privilege, not yet, but they were living in a world where kindness, courage, and connection could move mountains. And for Ryan, that was worth more than any billionaire's fortune.